The difference a great teacher makes over even the most exciting textbook can be life-altering, literally. And that's why at Prime Minds, we aim to inspire teachers mathematically. So please join us and discover how our insights and materials can energize your lessons. Before diving into the mechanics though, let me pause and give a quick comment on the underlying philosophy. The flow of a typical teacher's resources sequence isn't necessarily from A to B to C, because exploring is messy, and that's not how mathematics happens in the real world anyway. Life doubles back, and then suddenly you have a far greater appreciation for something that you saw earlier from a much more naive perspective. Besides, it can be dangerous to push through without a bigger picture. I liken it to shaving my head. Let's say I'm sitting here with a couple of days' growth. I could pick up a razor and I could work my way systematically from one side to the other, cutting through all of the hair. And if I do this, what invariably happens is that at some point, I give myself, It's the same with teaching and learning. Insisting on understanding everything before moving on from one piece to the next is painful. It's even detrimental to proper understanding. Far better is to do a quick once-over, roughing in what we're going to do. In shaving terms, it thins the field. In mathematical terms, it reduces the friction to understanding the minutiae. It's not a perfect analogy, but there is something to it, and even more to this method of learning. In short, we're going to do overviews, and then we're going to circle back. And with each pass, a greater richness is going to unfold. All right, about those mechanics. As with our explorations, we have a map to guide you. And as with our exploration maps, there are many landmarks on the teacher resources maps. And when you mouse over an icon, a bubble will pop up describing what's there. Clicking that bubble takes you to the content. Mouse over for a description, click bubble for content. Specifically for the orientation videos, clicking on the bubble will bring up a short clip that will help orient you with regards to content on nearby parts of the map. Though once in a while, orientation videos will be by themselves, without neighboring content. In that case, the orientation video will be there to give you a more general comment about the teacher resource. I'll also try to convey why the main content is so exciting and fascinating, because I think it's important to show enthusiasm. Generally, our teacher resources focus on exploring the problems more deeply and really fleshing out the explorations. I'll often encourage group work with a focus on having the students explain ideas to one another so that they can critically evaluate thinking. As I like to say, you can't use an idea you haven't heard, but you can always reject one that doesn't resonate. And I think that's an important life lesson for the students. Almost all of the teacher resources are designed to be doable by all teachers, regardless of your mathematical background. Obviously, if you see more mathematics, you'll see more connections, but we've got plenty there to excite any class. In the same way that reading Winnie the Pooh exposes students to the richest uses of the English language, using Prime Minds materials will expose students to the richest ways of seeing and thinking about mathematics. The main icons you will encounter in the teacher resources include gift boxes, which are a kind of gift to the class. They include ideas and structures for class discussions, brainstorming sessions, and in-class activities. And then there are class handouts. These are usually in the form of downloadable PDFs. Now, if our materials inspire students to ask questions you don't know the answer to, don't be afraid. Tell them, that's an interesting question. Work with them to see if you can answer it together. This is super valuable for the students. It gives them a chance to shine beyond simple call and response. And it makes you active participants in their mathematical journey, rather than simply a guide. And if you can't figure it out together, send us an email. Maybe we can help. But just remember, even the simplest looking and most innocuous question is sometimes truly difficult. The frontiers of the mathematical wilderness might be closer than you think. As I like to say, we are low floor and no ceiling. Finally, you might be suspicious about our age ranges, but I assure you that we've seen students from both ends of the spectrum get a lot out of this. Now, I'm not claiming that kindergartners are going to move as fast as high schoolers, but I do claim that there's a lot for both to enjoy. Again, think about it like Winnie the Pooh. 4-year-olds love it, and adults could write an entire PhD dissertation on it. All right, enough of me. Thanks for listening, and try a sample teacher resource.